So we are up and running on a Thursday morning. It's the 6th of January. We're edging closer towards the Lomrance Queen's Plate weekend. And Neil, that means that you're leaving today for Cape Town, doesn't it? Because you'll be working down there Friday and Saturday. So you'll be working the 2 days of the festival. And you must be excited.
Yeah, I am, because I started, as you know, with my studying, I always go backwards. So I started on the Saturday meeting and the last race on Saturday on Queen's Plate Day, and I've gone backwards. So I'm nearing the first couple of races on Friday now, but I'll welcome the 2 hours on the plane to refresh. It's lovely studying that stuff, as you know, Nico. I mean, the best horses in the country. And I like the card. I like the Queen's Plate card already. And that's not to say we can translate it into money. Let's hope so. But it's fantastic studying. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be great. And been talking to lots of Cape Townians down there, Vaal Smith, of course, and I in constant contact. And it's going to be a real red letter festival. As you said yesterday when we were talking to Graham Hawkins and Mike Wanklin, and folks, you can go and have a look at those videos, the discussion with Lance Michael as well, and yesterday's, which I thoroughly enjoyed, Nico. I mean, it is the best racing that we've got, Summer Cup week, Queen's Plate, Met, July. These are the race meetings that we race for.
Yeah, you can't help but feel, just adding on to what we said yesterday, you can't help but feel, although there's, I think, 11 runners in this year's race, Neil, that a lot are making up the numbers.
I know you don't like the 3-year-olds. I don't really like the 3-year-olds. I think Lance is right. But you know what? One thing I have learned, and you'll echo this, because you're not always a fan of the exotics. And the reason for that is, let's just take the pick 6. In fact, let's even be more conservative. Let's take a jackpot. To find 4 winners on any race card is tough. Very, very. I mean, you don't find 4 winners on every race card. To find them in the 4 designated races that are chosen as the jackpot, even the first jackpot, the second jackpot, is not easy. And sometimes, as form studies, you go back and look, and yes, you can say, oh, okay, I can see why that won. But sometimes, it's very difficult to find, particularly in these handicaps, to find winners. And a lot comes down to pace. Sometimes you're on the right horse, it gets a bad ride. Sometimes you're on the right horse and it gets wiped out by another horse that's next to you. So finding winners is not easy. And so I never say never anymore in the Queen's Plate. I don't like the 3-year-olds, but I also don't want to go out the jackpot if Trip to Fortune wins or if your Pacaya wins. So I try to keep it open-minded, because the older I get, the more I realize if I've got a set of blinkers on and I bring my bring my bias to studying, it's going to bite you in the butt.
Yeah.
If it, for example, we have a friend the other day, we won't mention his name, but like you, he liked double superlative for the guineas, but he refused to back it because he said, I'm not backing Anton. Well, how's he finished? Out.
Yeah.
You can't carry bias with you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Neil, talking about winners, just before we launch into today's racing at the Vaal, and there is a separate video for this, I just wanted to remind everyone of the Clocking the Gallop Extra promotion, which we've called Jewel in the Crown. This you can actually, I'm not going to labor on the point, but you can catch the separate video, which I'll post again late today, funny enough, because people have until tomorrow to get the full menu of tips. There's 2 days at Kenilworth, Friday and Saturday. There's Scottsville on Sunday, and there's Fairview on Monday. But just quickly on this, Neil, even if you do want to come in after Friday and just join for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, it's fine, but the price doesn't change. So that's why I say you'd rather get the 200 up front and get the 4 meetings in, rather than just spend the 200 on 3, 2, or even just the 1 meeting. So rather get in early and get yourself in by Friday. And there are obviously limited spaces, as you continuously point out, Neil, to get on. So we are accepting people for this, and it's our Jewel in the Crown promotion. And added to that, Neil, later today, at some stage, I'll be posting our very impressive Jet to the Met promotion, Neil. You and I are off to Cape Town. We've got Piers Stradham and his lovely wife, Krishna, joining us. We're going for basically 2 nights and 2.5 days. to Cape Town. And we'll be hosting people in the Somerset Room in Cape Town. And thankfully to the TAB, they've come forward and given us some betting vouchers to spend on the journey. So you can catch up with that and find out exactly what it is. We've got dinner on Friday night. We've got breakfasts planned. We've got transfers to and from the racetrack. So there's lots happening there. And you and I will be in Cape Town for the match.
Yeah, and very quickly, compliments and much thanks to 4Racing, Colin Gordon, Mark Kinsman, who have come to the party. And as you know, Nico, because we've always been this way anyway, so we don't really need to reiterate it, but we're racing people. We want to drive that totalizator. That's the only thing that's going to change us in terms of getting racing out of the doldrums that it is generating tote turnover, getting the pools up, and getting everybody to play into those pools. So we thank 4Racing in particular, Colin Gordon, as I said, Mark Kinsman, for recognizing that that's what we want to do and helping us to do that. So we're going to be driving those pools on the day and really looking forward to it. So yeah, jet to the Met. And Pierre's great. And I'll tell you one thing about Pierre, which you'll know, is he's an extremely good judge of form. Never a good judge of his own horses. And the reason for that, I always believe, is that he never wanted to put himself under pressure. So he'd never tell you, oh, I'm going to win here. He'd rather lean the other way and say, no, I don't know whether I can win. I'm drawn 20. But, you know, if you take that, he's not riding at the moment. If you take that out of the loop, he's going to be a huge advantage having Pierre, and as you say, his wife down there.
Yeah, so it's fantastic stuff. If you want to join Neil, myself, and Striker, then watch out for that video, which we'll post later on today and give you more details on how you can join us for the match. Right, let's kick on, Neil. Let's go to the first of our races today. By the way, the card, it is raining in Joburg, you said. So we'll have to look out.
Yeah, it's raining here.
Yeah, we'll have to look out for that further rain because it was set to be a very good track, but I don't know whether that'll change during the course of the day. I'm not sure just yet. We'll have to figure that out as we go along. But let's go and have a look at it, Neil. Quite a few maidens on the day to open up the card. And here's a look at the first race of the day. And just quickly, any changes in race one. There's a scratching. Number 10, Knock Twice is out. And number 7, Equerry is a tongue tie. 11, McTavish has a compression mask on. Now, Neil, you've been in cracking form. There's money for Abayan from 2-1 to 13 to 10, and Coming in Hot is 2-1. Is it just those two for you, the likely winner?
Yes, I think so, Nico. I don't see too much else there, and I'm always looking for lurkers, but yeah, I couldn't really find one. And it does look like somewhat of a boat race there. I thought that perhaps the 6 might be a bit of an improver, to be honest, but there doesn't seem to be much money for him. He's the son of Vercingetorix. And he came up from 2 runs at Scottsville, which were average, and then he ran a 3rd. But I don't think, the blinkers go on, but I think he's going to need blinkers, Kamalo, and a bazooka or 2 in the right place to help him be competitive against the 1 and the 2. Obviously, therefore, the value, I guess, was definitely in the 2. Just a quick shout out to Cabello, Matsignan, and Nico. He is riding so well at the moment. And I mentioned this, of course, when I had lunch with him at the Summer Cup launch. I was very impressed with the young man, told him so. At the time, he'd made that one mistake on the Michael horse, and Mike was sitting at the end of the table. And I said, well, you just got to, we all make mistakes. You got to put your head down, put it behind you.
Yeah, but I don't think that horse has won its maiden yet, actually. It's Courant. So I don't think it's won its maiden to bear testimony to him.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
And I said that to him. I said, the horse is a difficult ride. The very fact that it gave you problems is an issue. But either way, Nico, he's put that behind him. And he is riding really well at the moment. And I'm very pleased for the young man. As you said, from Meadowlands, I think,
Meadowlands in Soweto. What a lovely chap. Lovely guy. I wish him all the best. And excellent stuff. So, Neil, I like you. I restricted, I made my notes. If I'd sent you notes, I said, I make it between 1 and 2. I'm undecided. The money is for the 2. There's a bit of money for the 1 as well. I do think one of those 2 will win, Neil, the first race of the day. Okay, let's go on to the second race. Race number 2. Here, scratched is number 6, Heaven's Girl, which is an important scratching. and that's the only change. By the way, they're on a good track at the moment, but a 50%, 55% chance of afternoon thunder showers may change that a bit later on. Right, here's the story for this race. The money is for Gallic Chief, Neil, who's come in from basically 33 to 10 into 2 to 1. So that's where the money is. At 9 to 4 Mufasa, 3 to 1 Bartholdi, and 9 to 2 about Nvidia. Neil, I kicked myself when I was studying the form last night, mainly because I was not bullish on Gallic Chief when it made its high felt debut with Paul Matchett. And I can kick myself because I should have been. The way that I study is it's criminal that I didn't go for this, and I'm kicking myself, but I mean, that's water under the bridge. I make it a good thing today, though. Don't know about you. I look back at its profile, Neil. This horse wants the straight, and all its runs up the straight, and you know that they've only got Scottsville, obviously, and Scottsville, I think, had limited racing over the time. So if you look back at its form, it's been crying out for the straight.
Yeah, and you know, even that run around the turn, he probably should have won when Smunga actually, unfortunately, dropped the crop. But he put that correct the last time. The horse I'm talking about was Mizzy rode it last time, keeps the ride, and I think he's the right horse. He's an improver. Mufasa, I don't think you can ignore Mufasa, but he's level weights and on a line through grappler. You know, you'd think the Gallic Chief is the right one. What I will say, Nico, is this is a really nice race. If you enjoy horse racing, you don't have to have a punt to enjoy this race, because there's some very nice horses in here. We've read Bartholdi 100% correct. And I suspect we'll continue to do so today. I think he'll be on the premises because he's a nice horse, but he's got to give 3 kilograms to these other progressive 3-year-olds, Mufasa and Gallic Chief. And that might be a bit much, the same as Nvidia likewise. So I think from a handicap point of view, those 3-year-olds probably going to hold sway. But Captain Morisco is also a very nice horse. So all of those, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are nice horses. I won't be getting overly involved. As you know, I'm not a bipot player anyway, so I'm probably not going to take a bipot today. In the first leg of the PA, I'll just probably go 4 and 5. One of those at least should run a place. But it'll be a nice race to watch because there's some nice horses.
Yeah, just so adding to that, yeah, as I say, I'm quite bullish on Gallic Chief. On my study last night, it certainly came out trumps. I did like Nvidia for its last run. It got caught a long way back, Neil, during the run in its last race, and it was finishing strongly. But I think that Gallic Chief will have its measure of the weights today. That is race number 2. Standing outside you on the south coast, and you'll see me doing this and that and the other. I mean, there's flies, there's mosquitoes. I don't know any other form of insect with wings on it. It's just come across me today, and they found me on the wrong day. But anyway.
Well, I was going to say, you're tipping so well. You're tipping so well. There's no flies on you. Yeah, I mean, maybe that's the wrong phrase to use.
Okay, Neil. So let's move on to the third race. Here we've got a very short-priced favourite, and just on that, I'll quickly tell you any changes in race number 3, which starts off today's pick 6 in the third race. Scratch number 11, Spanish Spirit. Number 9, In the Ether, has a tongue tie, and number 12, Super Hot, has a compression mask on. Now, Neil, this horse Sky Glitter's got a huge reputation. It fluffed its lines last time out, but it's 6.5 to 10, basically, 63 to 100. And that's really tells the story here. I don't know if you want to elaborate, but I mean, it should just pitch at the races, although it's disappointed before. But I mean, what do you think of the Sky Glitter?
Well, it has got a reputation, but if you look at the bare form, it's part of it early on is encouraging. Not so the last run at all. I mean, it was not ridden out, and there was a veterinary investigation or subject to veterinary analysis. Nothing was detected, but maybe the mile was wrong and it was gravel. So using the same lines you use with Gallic Chief, back up the straight, I guess that could be the answer. But she has disappointed, but really the sound of warning and under your spell form should suggest that she will be hard to beat. I'm going to banker her, but as I said at the very start of the show, there's no good things in racing ever. You know, unless maybe you're Winks. And even then, most people try to beat Winks to get money. But yeah, she looks hard to beat. It's not a strong field that she's taking on, but she has fluffed her lines. I mean, the very fact that this is her 5th start and she hasn't won yet tells a story, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Well, as you know, I had lunch with Lance Michael yesterday, and thanks to him and his wonderful wife, Jill, for hosting us at their place just down the road from where we stay. But he said he had a share in a first timer here that was running, and I looked at it last night. It's bred to go a lot further than this trip, Neil. Yours truly is out of the mare Salutation. You remember Piet Deirdrick's own Salutation, in those purple and yellow colors,
Yes.
ran for Stuart Pettigrew, rather. And I think it won 2,000 plus. I think it was 2,000 plus. So it'll be interesting to see how yours truly goes, but there's no early money for it, really.
No, I also thought that just on the dam side, she'd probably be wanting a bit of a trip. So yeah, I think it's really for Sky Glitter to lose, but there's no value in it, is there? I mean, that's why I'd just be bankering in the PA, and if I do decide to take a pick 6, I'll probably take my chances banker early on, and then we'll know if we're in or out. But I'm not going to be chasing 6.5 to 10, but that's not my style.
Okay, right. Let's move on to the 4th race now. 4th race of the day. Just going to go to the changes, which I'm continuously updating, by the way. I don't know what's happened here, Neil. It looks to be maybe a bug in the system, but this is the betting, which looks like gobbledygook. In race 4, scratch number 4, Quest from Afar. I think that's the reason, Neil. Quest from Afar is scratched. Elevated temperature. It was scratched 10 to 8 this morning. So that's out, along with number 8, Ancole is out. Number 10, Jane Wilson, has no blinkers. So Quest from Afar is gone. And I think it was a strong favorite to win. It was quoted in the region of 8 to 10 with Maria's World, the second favorite, and then Kissed by Fire and Crown Plaza next best. I think the reason is because there was a late scratching over here. Quest from Afar is out of this particular race, Neil. So what are you all thinking?
Yeah. Well, it does now pose a problem because Quest from Afar, I felt would have had to fall over to get beaten here. It's a horrible field. It's a poor field is the best way, politest way to describe it. But you've got Kissed by Fire, who is having a 20th attempt to win. She's a 4-year-old, so she's well exposed. Evoke's having the 14th start. Night Lily, the 3, is a less exposed 4-year-old, and now could improve in what is, as I say, I repeat, a very poor field. It will not take much winning here. In fact, I think if you took an exacta with the ambulance, you'd probably be okay. I mean, really isn't going to take much winner. Obviously, too much to win the race. Obviously, Mike de Kock's got a very strong hand, and Maria's World is consistent, but this is her 7th opportunity to win. With Quest from Afar out, she's not going to get too many other easier chances than this. But I always felt, even when Quest from Afar was in the race, that maybe the value, the improver could be number 6, Crown Plaza, who's the stable companion. Muzzy rides. He's been riding extremely well for Michael, and is drawn 2 significantly because this is 1,700, so they go around the turn. So Crown Plaza should bounce and be in a good position. And I felt that she was the value. But now that the whole thing's changed, I mean, I'm not so sure I'll be chasing 7 to 2 about Crown Plaza. So a weak field, Nico. Just coming back to the 1-horse Kissed by Fire, I complimented Cabello earlier on. I must compliment Mark Kahn, and not for the first time in recent weeks. He's come back. He's rolled back the years. And I think the day I said that, he won the first 2 races on the card.
Yeah, he has. And, signs of that old brilliance in the saddle and that wily old character that Mark Kahn is. He's just such a pleasure to be around, such a meek and humble man. And well done to him. He could steal it, Neil, on Kissed by Fire, because if they use the tactics they used last time out and go to the front, some of those others might be found wanting. That was over 2,000 meters. I think this is down to 1,700. But I thought, like you, I thought it rested between Maria's World and Quest from Afar. But Maria's World has disappointed on a number of occasions. And I don't know now. I think, it makes it wide open. But I do like Maria's World. Night Lily, by the way, is a half-sister to Tierra del Fuego, who nearly came up and upset War of Athena the other day. at Turffontein. So
Yes.
very well bred horse tonight. Lily is the 3, but I think for me, Maria's World. If you like, Crown Plaza, you have to like Evoke, Neil. From what I studied last night, I think they
Yes.
finished on top of each
Yeah,
other. And when I looked at Evoke, I
they
said,
did.
"Geez, I won't like Evoke here." I brushed past that, and then I got to Crown Plaza, and I said, "Surely Crown Plaza can't fit into the same category as Evoke," but form doesn't lie, and they're right on top of each other on their last run.
Yeah, I'm afraid a lot of them are on top of each other. It's not a strong field, and that's why I say you're right. Maria's World really should win, but she hasn't won yet. So,
Yeah.
is it because she's not good enough to win, or is she been meeting better? But you can't get an easier race. I think you're right, Nico. Maybe Kissed by Fire could be the right horse.
Yeah, I could steal it, Neil.
She's a year older. She's a daughter of Legislate. If you don't want to back Maria's World, then I think that's probably the horse you'll be backing.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the way that it turns out. By the way, just on Maria's World, I'm giving her a last chance, because we do give horses last chances, and we continue to go for horses. But this is my absolute bloody final on Maria's World. With all due respect to the owner and trainer, who are one and the same person, Mike de Kock. It's the last chance that I go for this. But maybe the blinkers, maybe the distance. I don't know. But yeah, like you say, if it's not that, I'm going for Kissed by Fire. Right, Neil, let's move on to the 5th race. And once again, we'll update any changes here. Scratched a 3 Royal Tiger, 5 Mike the Pilot, and 7 Absolute Value are now scratchings in this race, which means the 16 and the 17 come in. The Great Romantic Jared Penny and the Punisher apprentice Caden Brewer, who you caught right the other day. Well done. You caught Caden right.
Yes.
Durrow, -4. Any comments
Yes.
before we go further? Any comments on Caden? I didn't see the race, but how did he ride it?
He rode it. I'm trying to remember. I backed a few winners that day. I'm trying to, in my mind's eye, remember that one.
Castle.
No, he rode it very well.
Yeah.
He rode it very well, and Cabello ran second. The 4 kilograms, it was a classic case that Jeff Lloyd always used to tell me. Classic case of if you've got a 4 kilogram claimer next to you, it doesn't matter what you're riding, you can't beat him. If the 4 kilogram claimer stays balanced and can just keep the horse and push it out, and he did that very well. And it comes back to what we've been saying forever on Clocking the Gallop, is that if you're patient with apprentices, they will deliver, because they get stronger, they get more experienced, and there will come a time where even the worst 4 kilogram claimer you think you've seen will start riding winners, because they get stronger and they get more mature. And Caden is in that vein of form right now, and he rode that very nicely. He's still going to make mistakes, but all human beings make mistakes. But I thought he gave that a peach of a ride, as did Cabello, who ran second. Cabello Matsuyama ran second on the bottom weight. Mike de Cox, was it called Forest Flower or Field Flower or Feast of Flower or whatever?
Yeah,
whatever it is. But you know the horse I'm talking about. Ran second. Fireflower. Fireflower. He did nothing wrong, but he couldn't beat Caden because Caden was claiming the 4, and we caught a few exactors. So yeah, no, he's riding nicely now. I'm very pleased to say. I think there's been significant improvement with experience, and he's obviously learning a bit from the academy up here. I think they're teaching him, and he's making huge strides.
Now, Neil, here, lots of money for this horse Takagari. It's a maiden handicap, Neil. So 25 to 1 all the way into 8 to 1. So someone's been ticking this up the whole way through. Robbie Sage is known to be a punting stable. It could well be the stable money here, because they're very shrewd when they come forward with their money. Last time I wore the blinkers for the first time and pulled. Muzzy would know a lot more about that and have a good inkling about what the chances are today. The horse to beat is no doubt Duke of Rain, the favourite, which there's been money for. It's shortened from 3 to 1 into 18 to 10. But he obviously has to carry the top weight of 60 and give Takagari, who's the money horse, 3 kilos. And then further down, Jaipa Jewel, Neil, has to give Jaipa Jewel 4 kilograms. Your feelings here?
Well, I love these races, these maiden handicaps, Nico, and I tend to not go for the favourites. Sometimes the favourites do carry the weight and they win, and they've got the exposed form to do so. So, as you say, Duke of Rain on exposed form, if you're going to quickly look at the race, you think, oh, that's certainty. but of course it's not, because it's a handicap. And Gimme a Dream, likewise, you'd expect him to improve, being a son of Gimme the Green Light and Paul Peter Trains and Warren Kennedy. But I'm always looking for value. The 6 Takagari is a very interesting horse. Nico, you and I have been for him before because we like the Judd Pot, and we like the fact that when he went ground, we thought he'd improve. He's been disappointing, that there's no doubt. When he was gelded, I thought, right, here we go again. That's what he needed. And I tickled him up at some decent prices, and he's still disappointed. So he'll get my last chance today. But if he is going to win, a maiden handicap is the type of race that he is going to win, because I think he needs a bit of help.
Yeah.
But he is a 4-year-old. He's getting a kilogram, for example, from Gold Ambition, who sets somewhat of a standard, being blinkered and hasn't been well drawn, still not well drawn today. But, you know, he's off just 57. But if I look at Takagari, who's a year older, I think he's a massive runner. And I'm not saying I took the 25 to 1. I'm not, but but he's shortened.
Yeah, he has shortened. Yeah, so
therefore,
yeah, Neil. So that's interesting that Takagari comes into the equation, obviously because it is a maiden handicap. Further down the field, is there anything below that your eye fancies?
Yes,
there must be a few.
Yes, everywhere.
Yeah,
they are. Have you got time? I mean, we're already to this preview taking a bit of a long time. No, Nico, all I'm saying is in this race, it's a handicap. It's not a maiden. So you look at a horse like Jaipur Jewel with Diego de Gavea on board. I mean, when he was an early maiden, he was rated well, he probably didn't have a rating there, but if you have a look at the accumulated rating, or what do they call the average rating in the races that they were running in, right? Yeah. Jaipur Jewel, when he made his debut, he ran in a maiden that the average merit rating was 76, and then the next one 83. Okay, yeah. So this average, let me just go and have a look. The average merit rating in this race is 57. 57. That he's taking on average merit ratings of 57 here. I mean, he's going to look around and think, gee whiz, if I can't compete here. Ginger Matinja, not quite as high, but he's run in his maidens against 76 and 72s. No, you've always got to have a look here, Nico. I'm going a bit wider, but Takagari, I couldn't miss the 25 to 1. I thought that was excellent value.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure about 8 to 1 now, but if you've got some of the 25 to 1 or 20 to 1 or even 16 to 1, I think you've done well each way.
Neil, so I know that this race, being a maiden handicap, is open to colts, geldings, and fillies. But one horse I did want to pick out for you is the 12 to 1 chance, number 13, Rattle Bag. Donald Getson on, because it comes in with 50.5 kilograms, and it ran behind 3 Hills. So if Kissed by Fire wins or goes close in the previous race, then you'd be wanting to have a good look at the 13 Rattle Bag on its run to 3 Hills last time out. Because remember, 3 Hills came out and nearly won again next time. Got touched off on the line, actually, in this next
Correct.
Run. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah,
Corey Lindsley yard is doing well.
Yeah. So anyway, for me, it's Duke of Rain or anything. Duke of Rain is carrying top weight, but as Neil says, you know, the fact that it is giving weight all around is a negative. But Tamanga Kamala is a massive positive on it, Neil, because you get the utmost from the saddle over here. So that is a maiden handicap and treated as such, basically. Let's move on to the 6th race. On to the 6th now, and here's scratch number 3, Ballon d'Or. This might have come through as a late scratching, I think, because it hasn't been mentioned yet. So scratch is number 3. I don't know why this isn't updating yet, so apologies for that. Yeah, Ballon d'Or is a late scratching here. Right, let's go on to this race. And yeah, so there's been money for a couple here, but looking at the favorite, Neil, is a weak favorite in the form of Fantastical and Elusive Current, the top 2, 1 and 2, 4 to 1 and 9 to 2, respectively.
Yeah, I started studying this race. I thought I'd like the 1 and the 2, and I ended up actually coming back at the end of it all and not liking them. I found others in the race. I think this is very competitive, this race. I spent probably too much time studying this. sometimes you can overstudy. You go around and round and round the mulberry bush, and then the fancied horses eventually come through. But not for me. I found a whole bunch here. Where to start? I mean, I could spend 30 minutes on this. I'm just going to go to the chase, cut to the chase. Yeah, your horse BCA got to be a big runner of 54, Nico. I think he sets the standard. If you like Nordic Rebel, who is very consistent, then he should beat Nordic Rebel because he's 1.5 kilograms better off with him. He got beaten a length, and he's got Muzzy on board. But and actually quite a nice price, actually. 11-2 is a nice price. But the horse I liked is one of our old chestnuts that we, him too, but go up 2. On him. On multiple lines, Rock of Africa comes out quite well. So for me, he would be my value in the race because he's 16-1. But interesting, you spoke about Suited Connector. That's Mark Kahn again. He could pop up. I think the race is pretty open. I'm going to go fairly wide. I think the best way to explain it to you, these are the horses I'm going into PA, right? I'm putting in 4 Rock of Africa. I am going to put in 5 Nordic Rebel because he's consistent. So I'm going to go 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 13. That's what I think of the race. I'm going 7 horses in the PA. Don't like the race.
Yeah. So, Neil, my top choice was Basie. Yeah, I give a big chance to Suited Connector. Like you, I like Rock of Africa a bit. The other one was Duke of Sussex, actually, the 12, which I gave a bit of a chance to at 14-1. So I think you're going to find a bigger priced horse winning here. I'm not so keen on this horse, Elusive Current, even though I saw the Mahobas and they were very happy with that first run in Joburg for Paul Peter. Fantastical had a year off or a long time off and then came back and ran well. But I think Basier's turn to win cannot be far off, Neil. So Basier is my top choice. I respect all those horses you mentioned. Funny enough, I like Rock of Africa a lot more than I like Nordic Rebel, and Rock of Africa is a better price. So that could be a possible horse for our price booster, Neil, because it does rank in my top 3. So
anyway, I probably, in retrospect, I probably won't put Nordic Rebel in my PA. I'll probably try and beat him. I mean, out of the places, but he is consistent. I mean, fair play. And Erico Verdenise has done a great job with him. So, I mean, I can't put 7 PA. It's too many. I'll put in the 6, take Nordic Rebel out. But a tricky race.
Tricky event there. Let's move on to the penultimate race. We're going on to race number 7 now. And this I studied pretty late into the night. So here, another rough betting race, because I think it's 4-1 the field here. Bella Chica number 1 is 4-1. Cold Fact number 3 is at 9-2. Big Eyed Girl at 5-1. Alabama Anna at 6-1. Again, Neil, plenty of opportunities over here. I'm going to first of all allow you to open up the batting on this one. By the way, number 12, Milan's Princess, races with a steel bar shoe on the all 4. So it's got 1 steel bar shoe and the other are steels, I think. So there's been money for that. A bit of money for Milan's Princess, shortened into 11-2. I like the horse each way over here. I'll be interested to find out what you think. But I like the horse. See, it's a fairly good price as well. What do you think?
Well, I'm excited to hear what you like, because I think it's fairly open. I also spend a lot of time on this race. I think Milan's Princess, I mean, the shoe situation does worry me, but she's a 4-year-old. She's got absolutely no weight. She's only been raced 7 times. But if you go back and have a look at the run on the 18th of September, she's got Bella Chica, See My Vision, and Before the Dawn, all beaten. Now, whether those are her main protagonists today is another question, because I think she can beat them, but still maybe find others like Cold Fact and Alabama Anna. So Milan's Princess, because she's got 48.5 kilograms off her back, which is, I mean, Donald takes 3.5 of the 4 off that he can do, and I think is a bit of a runner. But I'm interested in your horse, Nico, because I am looking for something in the race. What is it that you like? See my vision, eh?
See my vision, Neil, and I'll tell you why, and the reasoning behind it is because of the straight again. So the two mediocre runs in its last 5 or 6 are the runs behind Belichick and Captain Marisco, which are around the turn. Its form up the straight is good, but the only thing that I was a bit put off by was the run behind Impressive Duchess, which is going back to the 8th of June earlier on this year. But I see it wore a tongue tie that day and it hadn't been in form. So I'm prepared to excuse that. Its form is exemplary. If you look after that, with Brian Nyawa, Brian's ridden it 7 times for 2 wins in 2 seconds. Its course and distance form is good. And I think it shows tremendous ability up the straight, Neil. So for me, 12-1 was big. I thought that I'd be taking a strike at 12-1. So that was my top choice. I prefer it to a lot of the 4 and 5-1 chances here. But like you, Milan's Princess with a no weight on its back comes into it. I don't know what you thought, but that was my sort of horse that I'd be choosing to punt here.
Yeah, I think there's a few question marks over horse. I mean, Cold Fact is very interesting, isn't it? Because she is a 3-year-old carrying 56.5. The first 2 victories she had were super, super impressive. And she then went into a progress. She ran by an Under Your Spell. We know what she's capable of. And then she was considered good enough to have a tilt at the nursery and ran poorly, but then came back and won again. It was only really the last run. And, you know, Paul Peter, again, is banging form, isn't he? He might have had like 2 or 3 weeks where he was, by his very high standards, a bit average, but he's returned again with a vengeance. Whenever you see Paul Peter, I mean, you can't take them lightly. The horses always look well, and they're back running very, very well. So Cold Fact, I have to have that most respect of. I just think Alabama Anna is quite well in, though, because Alabama Anna is getting 4 kilograms from her. They're both 4-year-olds. And I thought that's why she's getting 4 kilograms and she's got Kamalo on. I thought the race was trappy, Nico.
Okay, Neil, I've just moved around a bit because my battery was low. So if I went quiet there for a second, I did hear you, but I've just moved inside just very quickly to just plug in my computer. But yeah, Neil, so how would you be playing this at the end of the day, race 7?
I'm going to my PA horses here will be 3 Cold Fact, 10 Alabama Anna, 12 Milan's Princess, and if I was going to put one more in, it might be, depends on the draw. Actually, I'm going to have a look by the time the third. Oh, I've only got one race to look at, haven't I? Because the PA starts with race 2. I might have a look at race 1, just get a perception of whether you want to be drawn up the inside or the outside, and then add one other. But those would be my 3: Cold Fact, Alabama Anna, and Milan's Princess, which is not overly creative. I'm aware of that. Those are all fancied in the betting market.
Okay. So Neil,
but I hear what you're saying, and you're in form. I must. And the thing is about See My Vision, Roy Magna, we've touched on it before. His yard's ticking over, and what's the lady's name who looks after the horses there?
Casey.
I met her, I was so impressed with at the sales. Casey, yeah. Casey.
Yeah.
Maybe she's doing a great job.
Maybe we'll have her on the show, Neil, and chat to her about her background and that. And she's extremely well spoken, and so that might be a future program. Okay, so we see it a bit differently over there, but I thought that race offered any amount of possibilities from a betting perspective. Okay, the last race of the day, race number 8, runs at 5-4. It's a fillies and mares 77 handicap. It's over 1,000 meters. Why are you cheering? You've got a horse here.
Because your horse is back, Samoa. I'm waiting for you to tell me about Samoa.
Yeah, I'll come on to that in a second. Let's just do the changes here, Neil. Yeah, the day I leave it out, Neil, will be the day it wins. So I can't ever leave it out. Now, 2 captains run as a compression mask on over here. That's the only change. So looking at the betting, it's 4-1 Bathing Beauty, who won tremendously well on debut, and it comes out after a long rest. Joint favorite with Samoa, who's ultra consistent, as you heard from Neil there. Rosara's at 7. Vuitton is at 8. Captains run at 10-1. And and as they say, the rest is the other one is Gin and Tonic, actually, at 8-1, Neil. And no doubt Samoa has to have a chance, always gets given a chance by me, comes in with a nice galloping weight, and Kamala, I suppose, wants to win on it. But what about anything else, Neil? I thought the value maybe with Mark Khan's right, gin and tonic. You like a few of those?
Yeah, gin and tonic definitely got a chance. Not much between gin and tonic and Rosara. Rosara is 7-1. Gin and tonic is 8-1. So of the two, I prefer gin and tonic. The blinkers go on, Nico. The earlier form behind Under Your Spell and Heaven's Girl, I think, will be good enough to make a competitive here. I don't have a great relationship with Time Thief, to be honest. I don't know what it is, but I can't catch that stallion. So maybe today, this Time Thief, this daughter of Time Thief, will do well. I thought the value in the race, Nico, was the horse below that, number 6, Veranova. I think she's a big price at 20-1. She's a year older, on some form lines with Hear the Trumpet. She's run okay, and it might be a nice day for Robbie Sage. You know, the other day I said it was a 2-horse race between the Sage runners. Yeah. We actually chose the wrong one, but the other Sage runner, Cool Bikel, won well. So Robbie's yard is in good form, and I thought at 20-1 that was good value. But funnily enough, Nico, I thought Samoa would go very close today. I think, you know, she stays off a 62, and I think you told me she was a bit unfortunate not to win last time.
Yeah, she's been unfortunate in a number of runs, Neil. She starts her run late in the day and gets going far too late. But just on that Sage story where we chose the wrong one, we chose Call Me Master and Cool Bikel one. We were stupid, actually. Very silly, because you can Dutch in a race, meaning you can back more than one horse. We said it was a 2-horse race. We should have just price boosted both of them, Neil, because we said one of them will win. And they were both at 6 and 7-1 or 4 and 5-1, and we would have ended up being a winner. We chose 2 price boosters on the day. The 2 could have been in the same race. There's no law against backing 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was kicking myself off that because we liked both. We said it belonged to Robbie Sage, and Cool Bikel won at a bigger price anyway. Okay, Neil, so that's the last race of the day. It is my first choice was, funny enough, gin and tonic, but I obviously give Samoa a chance. And like you, I gave Rosara a chance too. And I'm prepared to put in Veranova, because one thing about Robbie Sage today, Neil, is if he's going to pop up early, he's going to pop up throughout the day. So he's going to be, if that horse, that half sister to Tierra del Fuego, Night Lily, runs well, then the rest of them will run well too. So I'll be interested to see that stable today, how they perform on the whole. Neil, let's wrap it up here and now for this Thursday as we approach 9 o'clock in the morning. Do we give a price booster? We mentioned that big priced horse earlier on, Rock of Africa, Verico Verdeniz at 16-1. Is there anything else that fits the bill, or do you want to go for something, or is there anything earlier on that we liked? I know we didn't see the last 2 races the same.
Similar. I mean, I don't discount your horses at all. The gin and tonic, and we've got Samoa in common, we've got Veranova a bit in common. I think it was just race 7 really that we probably didn't, but I mean, that's an open race. I suppose Rock of Africa, I don't know, he's got a bit of pudding to carry to shoulder around, but I suppose you're not going to get hurt at 16-1, are you?
No, and the places I think are nice and juicy if they give us more than 16. Yeah.
What's his form like up the straight, Nico? I'm just having a look at straight run.
Very good.
Straight.
Very good.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's go for him.
Yeah. The 8-year-old Rock of Africa. Yeah. Okay. So that's what we're into today, Neil. All the best on your trip to Cape Town. I will be in touch with you, obviously, on Friday and Saturday, but have a good time over there. And we might link up with you on Clocking the Gallop like we did last year on the Saturday morning, because just to set the scene for us on the day, maybe on Saturday sometime. But thanks very much for your time today.
Thanks, Nico. Go well, and hopefully people will jet to the Met with us and take a few of those jewels in the crown for the weekend. It really is fabulous racing Friday, Saturday. And just one last thing on that, if you're ever going to take our selections, this weekend would be a good time to start, because as you know, Nico, standalone now race meetings in South Africa. That means those pools, totalizator pools for Friday and Saturday, Sure, we're going to be rivaling Happy Valley and Shartin. It's
Yeah.
going to be huge.
Very soon, yeah. I think there's a Pick Six carryover on the big Queen's Plate meeting on Saturday. And like Neil said, you can catch the preview that Neil, myself, and Mike Rankin and Graham Hawkins did for the Lomrons Queen's Plate, which was posted up last night. Thanks, Neil. Have a great day's racing.